For the past 7 years, I have been traveling around the world, photographing and interviewing fourth graders and asking them 3 simple questions. Who do you live with? What do you wish for? And what do you worry about? It all started 7 years ago. Philadelphia in 2007 was in the middle of an epidemic of violence in the city. I was a member of the Social Justice Committee of my local synagogue and decided as a group we wanted to do something to help our city. So we decided to adopt a school, a local school, and I was assigned to the 4th grade. The local school was in one of these neighborhoods where violence was an issue. So when I got to the school, the teacher assigned me to help students with their reading skills. So for the first 3 months, we tried to work over their reading skills, but they were reading stories that they couldn't relate to. I couldn't relate to them either. So I decided to change things up a bit. And I decided to ask them to tell me about their lives, and maybe they could read their stories to me. So I asked them, who do you live with? Sometimes that took a whole page. Then I asked them what they wish for and what they worried about. By the end of the year, they were able to read the stories to me, their reading skills had improved, and the teacher was thrilled. The only thing she wasn't thrilled about is she didn't have a chance to get to talk intimately to the kids the way I did, and she felt a little jealous. But she had 34 kids in her class, and she was preparing them for the standardized tests. Since I'm a photographer, and I decided I would offer as a gift to the students, I would take their portraits and put them up in the classroom. So the last day of school, I brought in my camera, and the principal got wind of this, and she kept running down the hall and said, you can't photograph these kids in this school. You can't photograph their faces. There are privacy rules. We can't have you do this. And then she jokingly said, you can photograph their backs, not their fronts. As soon as she said you can photograph their backs, I'm an artist. A light bulb went off in my head. I thought, oh my heavens. This social justice project just turned into an art project. I quickly brought the kids out in front of the gray fortress door in the school, turned them around, and photographed each one very quickly. And this is what I got. I worry about people in my family getting shot. My cousin got shot and died. I don't think anybody should carry a gun, even the cops. Then nobody would get shot. My whole family was born in Mexico. I came to the United States when I was 3. I live with my mom, my dad, my 3 brothers, my godsister, and my niece. I worried that my parents might get deported to Mexico. Then I would be all alone. I live with my mom and her boyfriend. My dad lives with his mom and 3 cousins. My half-sister and half-brother live with their mom. I wish my mom and dad and sister would all live in one big house. So by asking these 3 simple questions, we learn about how violence affects children, how the immigration policy affects them, and we learn about the demise of the nuclear family. So I knew I was onto something. I knew that I had a project, and I needed to go to other schools to ask these questions. It took me 2 years, but finally, after 2 years, I was able to get into a private Quaker school in Philadelphia. And I was able to ask the kids the same questions, and you couldn't have made this up. The answers were like night and day. My mom was born in Uruguay. Her parents moved to the United States to make more money. I am an only child, but soon we will be adopting a baby girl from China. I'm excited to meet her. I wish the whole world would be one large empire so there would be no more war. I worry about world hunger and global warming. My life is good. I feel lucky. So you have the inner city kids worrying about their personal safety, and you have the private school kids worrying about world hunger and global warming. So this project had to expand. The following year, I was offered an opportunity to travel to China, and I found a Penn graduate student who got me connected with a school for migrant children in Beijing. When I got to the school in China and started photographing, The teacher ran outside and said, "You can't photograph these kids from the back. It's disrespectful. You must photograph them from the front." So I knew then, I said, okay. So I photographed them from the front, but then when the teacher went back into the classroom, I asked my interpreter, he knew about the project and he gave me permission. I quickly photographed from the back. So what I did learn was, this is a school for migrant children. There are 20 million migrant children in China, and most of them don't go to school. It turns out a migrant in China, they have something called a homestead rule. If you leave your hometown and you move to another city, which most of them do for work, they go from the country to the city to work, you lose free education and you lose all kinds of social services. You must stay in your hometown if you want these services. So this is how it affects a 9-year-old child in China. I live with my mother and father. My older sister lives with my aunt in my hometown. I wish my whole family could be together. I worry about doing something wrong and upsetting my parents. I worry about hurting someone and my parents will have to pay for medical treatment. The following year, I had an opportunity to travel to India. When I got to India, they said I could photograph from the front, from the back, I could do whatever I wanted. They didn't have any rules. I had free reign. Okay. What I learned in India is that many fathers work in Arab countries to help support the families, and the families live in joint families to give support to the families. So this is how it affects a child in India. I live with my mother, older brother, and grandmother. My father is an electrician and works in Qatar. He comes home once a year. I wish my father was home more. I miss him. I'm scared of snakes. If a snake bites you, you could die. I speak 5 languages. When I grow up, I want to be a cricket player. Almost everyone in the class spoke 4 or 5 languages. The following year, I ran a Kickstarter campaign and I raised funds to travel to the West Coast, and I did 2 schools in LA. One was a private school and one was an all-Latino school. So here is a child from the private school. My parents are divorced. I live with my mom Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday, and with my dad Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I wish everyone would stop fighting. I worry that I'm always forgetting something. Sometimes I leave something at my father's house, and then I don't have it. When I showed this slide to a school in Saint Lucia, I was just in Saint Lucia 2 months ago, and I always show the project to the children. All the kids raised their hand for a question. They asked me, what is divorce? It turns out that in Saint Lucia, parents don't get married. 90% of the kids live with their mother, and they had never heard of divorce. So again, all kinds of cultural differences. This is a young girl in Saint Lucia. I live with my mother, brother, and cousin. We all have different fathers. I wish for a 90+ average on the test. Last year, I got an 89.22. I worry about getting a good job. I want to be a 4th grade teacher. So in Saint Lucia, it's a very poor country. 50% of the families don't have flush toilets. Most of the children have single-parent families. So they're poor, they live with, they're just their mother, but they're very focused on education. Their mother wants them to get a good education, they study hard, and they all want to have a good job. When I showed the next slide to the kids in Saint Lucia, and they saw his haircut, they all started to laugh. They thought it was really funny. However, when they heard his words, they quieted down. This is from the all-Latino school. My parents were born in Mexico. They speak only Spanish. I'm good at drawing. I want to be an architect. That's my wish. I want to design tall buildings. I like my mohawk haircut. I like being different. As soon as they heard I like being different, they realized, aha, yes, most 9-year-old children at one time in their lives have felt different. And here was a young boy, just like them, embracing the concept of difference. And they all quieted down and really paid attention. So, what I've learned from this project is that most schools are homogeneous. Kids go to school with other kids just like them. They don't have a lot of contact with other backgrounds and other cultures. My dream for this project would be if it could be instituted in curriculums all over the world, and kids could be connected and become a part of one huge global community. This is from a 4th grader in Las Vegas. After I did the project, this is her thank you note. I think that you will make a big difference. I really like how you are planning to go all over the world. I learned how kids look, and it's what's inside that counts. I hope that the world will all be friends. 4th graders are ready. They are open, they're ready to connect, they're ready to learn about the other, and with that comes less prejudice, and hopefully they can all be friends. Thank you.